And please state your name before you ask your question.
I'm Maya McNeil. I go to the high school. I'm a junior this year. And I don't know if you guys have heard about the youth vote bill, which might be passed in March potentially. But I was just wondering how you would feel if a student were to be elected onto the board, and how you would feel about them having an equal vote to you on the board. Yeah, that's it.
Who was elected?
If a student were to be on the board, how would you feel about them having an equal vote?
I didn't know, do we have a structure that we're all going to answer? Or
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So good news, in the process that we've already gone through during the last 4 years of the leadership councils and the whole study committee, we had that answer. And the answer was that we definitely wanted to put students on the board. We have leadership councils. I think we've had it actually on the leadership council, not on the board. The state mandated board does not have anything like that, but I think that would be something that definitely comes up. We started it in our thoughts on the study committee as of already the middle schoolers, and actually having a seat at the table on the leadership councils.
So the youth vote proposition is the idea that 16-year-olds and up would be allowed to vote in municipal elections and or serve on municipal boards. I am absolutely in favor of it. I think that there are some very brilliant, passionate, and committed 16 and 17-year-olds in this town beyond all the 18 and up old folks. And I think that students can bring a really valuable perspective to the board and to just voting at all. I know that some people feel that the law is 18 because that's when you become mature, but as we know from teaching and educating students, everyone doesn't mature magically on one day. And if people feel that they are mature enough to cast a vote or to serve on a board, then I'm all in favor of that.
I'll third that. I didn't come quite so easily to agreeing and supporting the youth vote, but with a lot of help from my friends, I began to see some real wisdom in it. First of all, of course, as my colleague Robin says, if a young person has an interest in voting, they're probably going to care a lot and probably know as much or more than most people much older who do vote. So I think that's a plus. It'll stimulate that. Also, I hope that it will stimulate the schools to teach a great deal more about democracy and electoral politics and stuff like that. That kind of thing has been sorely lacking in our schools for generations, as reflected in the very low turnouts that we see in the local elections. So in short, I'd be happy to see a student on a board.
I'd also love to see a student on the board. From my perspective, since I wasn't involved in the youth vote work here in Brattleboro, I do know that working with governance, having teachers, students, and community members in the policymaking process actually has real outcomes. And so policy, when implemented, is more effective because it takes into account the fact that people who were actually affected by the policy had an investment in it. So when it rolls out, you don't have all these kind of like implementation glitches because it was already really thought about well at the beginning. And so I would say, especially having students involved in that process when they are the ones who will be either not receiving, because they're not like bats that are receiving the education, but really the people who it matters most to is really important. So I would love to see that, and I think the research side really suggests that that has a powerful impact. So I love that.
Well, it's unanimous. I completely agree. Some of the best leading going on right now on a number of social issues is coming from young people that are below the age of voting in our country, and yet they are providing some of the most insightful and powerful leadership.